Welcome to Next Gen's coverage of the 2012 World Ultimate and Guts Championships. I'm Lou Burris.
And I'm Chase Sparling Beckley.
It's a rainy afternoon here in Osaka, Japan. This afternoon we have for you the championship game in the Women's Masters Division. It's a classic, Canada versus USA. There is a lot of star power on the field this afternoon.
Absolutely, Lou. For Team USA, in particular, Miranda Roth, actually a Riot player of many years. She played on a few different teams, biggest known certainly for her contributions with Riot.
But a Callahan winner.
A Callahan winner as well with Carleton. And she is helped today on this Team USA squad by a variety of different players, most notably Dominique Fontanet.
Another Callahan winner.
Another Callahan winner. Tons of experience, played on the 2005 World Games team as well as the 2001 World Games team. She's played with Fury. She's played with Brute Squad. She's played with Godiva. She has
She came up in the
dominant Stanford years and just has a ton of big game experience. I think on Team USA, of course, you want all the players surrounding them to have big games, but look for those two to really command things on the field.
We shouldn't overlook for Team USA that they actually bring a coach with them. Jennifer Donnelly, great coach for Stanford back in the 90s, was the main part of leading them to their 106-game win streak that did span 4 seasons. If this is a close game, the tactical adjustments that Team USA is going to be able to make because of what Donnelly's going to bring could be the difference. But on the other side in red, we've got a great Canadian team. Who are we looking at there? Val Dion.
Val Dion, a big name for Canada. Spent a lot of years coming up through the Vancouver system, playing with prime teams. Recently has moved down to Seattle.
And played with Riot.
As a big part of that kind of Riot Fury battle that's been going on for the last 4 or 5 seasons. She is a huge thrower.
Absolutely. Along with Val Dion, number 37, Tasia Balding, a young player for a Masters team. Look for Tasia to get it done in all facets of the game. Masters teams a lot of times hinge on the energy and the dynamic play that the younger end of their roster brings them. Look for that to come from Balding.
And I think one thing of note here, you were speaking before about JD coming with a ton of experience for the USA as a coach.
Yeah.
And having a great ability to bring tactical adjustments. These two teams met earlier in this tournament, and Canada brought the fire.
It was a shellacking.
And put down, I think, a hurting on the USA to the tune of 17-8. USA had the poise certainly to come back, center themselves.
Win a big game against Japan.
And put themselves in position to face Canada again. But I think what it's going to come down to is the tactical adjustments that they're able to make, both from that previous game, knowing now what Canada has to offer, as well as within this game. If they can figure out what Canada's doing right, figure out what's going on with now what is a very rainy field, wet disc conditions, and wind, and make the kinds of adjustments to put things falling in their favor, they're going to have a lot of success today.
When we talked with Coach Donnelly before the game, she thought that their advantage in this game was their depth of throwing talent. And when we asked her to try to identify who that was, she rattled off about half the roster.
That's a lot of faith by a coach. You love that. The proof will be in the pudding here in these conditions.
Team USA looks to be coming down in a 4-person cup. Some discussion from Team Canada about who's going to pick up the disc, where it's going to come into play. Balding picks it up. Canada transitions out of their side stack set into a zone set. Fontenette to deep, deep. Matched up on Dion. Right away, a big floater. Turnover, Canada.
There was a moment there, I think, where Canada was debating whether they take the yards and get pinned on the sideline per whiff-diff rules, or walk the disc back an extra
brick.
25 yards, but take it in the center at the brick.
Weeks. Fontenette.
Quick bobble there.
Holes. Weeks. McDonald.
Low.
Some kind of a call, I think, is going to send the disc back to Weeks. Nope. There's a pick called as Lowe came out of the stack. Defended by Balding. Deep stack from the Americans. This is the first opportunity either of these teams have had to play on the championship field, and the wind, it's again that west wind popping up over the top of the stands, around the end of the stands, and it creates a lot of uncertainty and really inconsistent winds. Canner. Weeks. Reaching for Fontenette. Dion there with the D.
And the much more lanky Val Dion stands that one up really without much difficulty. Dom Fontenette, really a powerful player. She can get up when she needs to, but
Drop disc.
can also, like, wants that straightaway speed kind of a cut. Wants
Yes.
a little bit more on that.
Weeks to pick up, unmarked. Will Fontenette take advantage? Swung. Looks off low. McDonald in trouble. Big blade. Fontenette. Low. Weeks.
Great move by Canner there.
McDonald. Too far for Canner. Canner, the older sister of Revolver star Sam Canner. Blade to McDonald. Wrong team, and I think that we're going to have a foul called by Schlegel. Just said McDonald just came right into her, knocked her over. Canner, Kingery. Blade, low, got it. 1-0.
Kate Kingery with kind of a cheeky little backhand blade over the top of two players. She's a player you coached for a few years, isn't she, Lou?
Indeed, won a national title in 2000.
She learned that from you?
No.
No.
She came by that honestly.
Ah.
Right away in this first point, I think we've seen the tenor of this game. In these conditions, there are going to be turnovers. The challenge for these teams is to manage their offense in a productive way to generate positive field position.
The right kind of turnovers.
And I don't mean huck and play D. What we saw from Team USA there is off of the long throw from Dion that was dropped, they had 50 yards of offense that they needed to make. They didn't score on that possessions, but they were able, through 5, 6, 7 passes, to move the disc down the field. When they did turn it, they left Canada with a short field, and it's going to be the short field possessions that make the difference in this game.
I like USA's ability to play more, and this is just maybe rephrasing what you just said, but to play more of an attacking game, using the space in the spread offense to be able to get big underneath for 20, 30 yards instead of being really back and forth across the field.
Weeks. Cook. Weeks. Defended by Dion. Cook. Weeks. Cook. Not much motion from the American Cutters right now. Reaches to the end zone. Well defended. Dropped by Dion. Another short field opportunity for the U.S. They opt to slow it down. The American handlers are getting nice resets, but they're having trouble finding the Cutters. Nice D downfield by the Canadians. And another jump ball defended by Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's just high stall count right there. Didn't see it from the handler Cutters that time. Not able to get an easy reset or a dump swing across the field.
4-person cup again for the Americans. Balding. Big blade. Great throw. Nichols. Too far for Dion. Center. Cook. Nice shot. Nye. Kingery blocked. Great D by Fisher.
Really great D. I think Kingery slowed down, didn't really know she was behind her.
And the blade again from Balding. Rodriguez drops it. 3 drops this point for Canada. Cook. Lots of options.
Goal USA. Oh, there's a call on the play.
I think we're going to see a travel call
2 throws before.
On the throw to Cook.
Yeah.
Foul call, actually. I think Chamberlain is calling. Correct that. So disc comes back. We're going to come installing 0.
Foul called on the mark.
That was definitely I don't like what I've got. Really nice poaching and switching defense. You can see the Canadian defender isn't even looking at number 88, Val Nye. She's faced up at the thrower and working in conjunction with Tasia Balding to not pursue the American Cutters, but instead play
just close that lane.
Almost a zone in the backfield. Team USA is not able to then find a way to punch through. We've seen Cook throw those big blades over the top. There it is.
And she does well with her legs there.
Yes, that throw was set up with the legs. It's a flat throw to open space.
You know, one piece of nuance as well, when USA is able to throw, again, I would say less laterally, more downfield, even on that cross-field throw, it's a more up and down throw. I think that really helps their ability, in the case of a turnover, to be able to put that zone on and slow Canada's movement with quick, easy passes off of a turn.
I think Canada's taking a timeout. A lot of unforced errors. They're going to want to make some adjustments, get themselves tactically and emotionally back to the place they want to be while they're taking a break. Here's a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Next Gen Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 WIFDIF World Ultimate and Guts Championships. Women's Masters final, USA 2, Canada 0. Canada really struggling with unforced errors.
And USA, credit them, came out with a lot of fire. I think they adjusted their game plan according to the weather that we're seeing here today, which is drizzly, windy, wet disc everywhere, and we're in the stadium where there is a little bit of that swirl when the wind comes up over the top of the bleachers. And I think USA has adjusted really well to be able to deal with those conditions and put Canada in really tough positions.
But also a lot of it's Canada's own doing. I mean, on that zone point, Tasia Balding hits 2 really nice big forehands across the field, and those are immediately followed by unforced errors. And Team USA is not putting on a ton of pressure with this zone, but they're just providing an opportunity for Canada to make mistakes.
And there we see one. Again, the more throws they have to throw, Canada falters.
Ratliff with the disc. Zayas, high backhand. Roth, 3-0.
And the USA sideline is excited.
Zayas with the disc. This combination so deadly for Riot. Zayas to Roth.
For a lot of years.
Still don't feel like we're seeing what Team Canada is capable of.
No. And if you're down there on the sideline or in their huddle, tuning up some adjustments, I think the first one I would bring up would be, hey, it's going to be an ugly game. The conditions are ugly. Let's do as well as we can playing zone offense. But we have to have tighter D on that turn.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate one. You've left USA with a short field. Vivian Zayas, a really accomplished thrower. Miranda Roth, a great cutter. But I think you just want to put pressure on people, especially in these kinds of conditions, because just those footsteps back behind them could be the difference between someone bobbling it and dropping it.
I'd like to see Canada crashing the cup more and another unforced error. Ratliff to the disc quickly this time. Nichols on the mark. Zayas not open. Now Zayas on the sideline. She has a drop of her own. And no fast break from Canada.
No
One of
fast
the best
break
ways
from
to beat a zone is not let it set. Balding with the disc. She's thrown that nice forehand blade. I think we see it here. Neither Canadian defender sure who it's for. Drops between them. Zayas. D. Nichols. Cup sets again. Balding with the disc. There's the crash in the cup. Balding.
Miranda got a little piece of that coming by, but I don't know if that it was enough that Balding
Zayas.
should have dropped it.
Over the top. USA 4-0.
You know, one of the things, Lou, that you see in games like this where conditions are not very conducive right now to throwing and catching.
They're awful out there.
And
It's
here
just
comes
short field.
The skies have opened up again, and
Right
the
now,
rain is coming down. But one of the
Go
things
ahead.
I think you
Sorry.
see is oftentimes big swings in terms of success. USA right now is riding great D, being given a short field, throwing easy passes into the goal. And that hinges on them being the ones pulling.
Yes.
Coming down and being able to set their defense
Yeah.
up. If Canada is able to just get that 1 point where they get past, they work it up and get past the USA zone, it could easily be their turn, and we could see Canada rattle off 4, 5, 6 points. If you're the O team down here for USA, I think you have to be thinking about that. and hopefully adjusting your game plan accordingly.
USA pulling up 4-0. It's been all zone and all short field offense for the Americans as unforced errors on both sides. And Canada opts to punt and play D here. Fontenette with a late block. I thought she was beat at the end.
I thought she was beat, but she makes a wonderful play to get a piece of that one.
And in a way, here's the block by Fontenette. Great job. Canada almost says we're gonna pull and play D without having scored a goal.
And here they come in a zone.
Although it wasn't a total punt.
No, absolutely not.
If it's not for a sensational play by Fontenette,
that's a goal.
Cook. Kingery. Hammer. Same game plan works for Canada. They have the short field turnover. Elliott, turnover. Fontenette chooses, nope, Cook's going to pick it up. Semi-fast break. Canada not able to set the zone. Cook, big blade into traffic.
Miranda Roth almost comes up with it.
Nice D by the Canadians. Dion. Lemieux. Cup sets for America. I like the pop in the middle. Elliott with the disc. Hammer turns over. Cook with the D. Kingery. Weeks. Disc pops up. Nice catch. Kingery. Weeks.
USA was on a roll there with some great quick handler movement. Just an unfortunate drop in poor conditions. I think you go back to it. I like that active handler movement, but registering that there's just going to be some mistakes, I think, is going to be really important for the psyche of both of these teams.
Great throw by Dion Rodriguez. Cook almost with the block. Dion. She's got an open receiver deep. Goes to the mid-range. Dion. Wants the high backhand. Goes across the field. And Canada's on the board. You know, they flipped the script on Team USA.
They did.
With that initial huck off the pole, the gameplay is exactly the same. They're just, the Canadians are in the short field. Here's the huck. We'll see the great D by Fontenette. But strategically, it just sets up exactly what has been successful in this game, which is only having to play 20 yards of offense instead of 70 yards of offense.
And yet, in the middle of that point, USA works it 3/4 of the way down the field before giving up
a drop
disc at half.
Yeah.
And after that, I actually really liked how Canada's offense was a little bit more vertical and a little bit less horizontal.
With Dion going over the top with that backhand.
Dion going over the top with the backhand.
Nice throw.
It's a really nice throw by a very accomplished thrower. But what that does is it puts them in the position of being able to attack.
Yeah, because I mean, once you get outside of that four-person cup, then everybody is open, and it's so hard for a team to recover all the way across the field. Pull bouncing around.
A pick or a foul in the middle of the field.
I think just a collision between two players. Kingery and Wrigglesworth. McDonald with the disc on the sideline. Marked by Schlegel. Some discussion. Huck from Zayas looking for Fontenette. Dion there. Too much size. Canada at midfield against man-to-man defense from the Americans. Great bid on the sideline. Nichols with the disc. Pick. Great catch under heavy pressure by Jen Nichols.
And wonderful effort there on the bid by Lee.
You know, this Canadian team is really from all over. Jen Nichols from Alberta, but players from British Columbia, East Coast players. Dion on the sideline. D by Kingery. Canadians calling to set the zone. Schlegel on the mark. Zayas with the disc. Reaches for Fontenette. Dion too high. Fontenette drops it. And she had Kingery
Wide open.
That should be a pancake by Fontenette. Just take another half step back and be sure in these sloppy conditions. Dion going deep. Too far. Zayas to get it. Canadians set in the zone. McDonald. Lee. Zone's going to set. McDonald trapped. Ratliff. Tight cup. Ratliff again. 1-3-3 really. Floats high. Nichols not able to get there. Zayas. Fontenette wide open on the weak side. Goal USA. Great throw
Wow,
by
that
Vivian
is
Zayas.
incredible vision by Vivian Zayas. And really phenomenal ability to use the wind. She lined that thing up and almost threw it flat with just a little bit of edge.
To
and
get
I
away
think,
from, just to move it out away from
and I
Dion.
think Val Dion was caught between two deep receivers.
Yeah. There's
going
two
either
people out
way.
there for sure.
And I almost thought that was going to tail right into her. But it rolls out over the top, right into the waiting arms of Fontenette.
What Zayas did there, which is something that really experienced throwers do, is that Fontenette had been setting up in that weak side position the whole point. Zayas was just holding that in her memory that was where Fontenette was. You know, really experienced players, they can tell you kind of where everybody on the field is. She knew Fontenette was there. When she catches it on the sideline,
It's just a quick look over the shoulder, and she lines it.
yeah,
and
she's
lets it
just
go.
checking like, oh yeah, Fontenette's still there. Dion's over here on the strong side. She knows she's got it. And that's how she's able to get that read so quickly. Team USA pulling up 5-1. Windy, sloppy conditions, forcing a lot of turnovers. It's really been a game of field position. The game has evened out a bit as both teams have stretched their games more vertically. And here we see a huge throw by Balding. Rodriguez wide open, just short of the end zone. Nichols coming down. Ratliff calls travel. It's instantly back in play. There's no check here. I think both these players operating under USA Ultimate rules. Rodriguez looks for the dump. Nettlefold. Too far. Kingery in transition. Roth. Right to Rodriguez.
Foul called on the mark.
Prescott with the foul. I think Roth got away with a bit of one there. There's so much traffic between her and Kingery.
Reaching for what in a lot of ways became her signature throw, that kind of around backhand.
Like underneath the arm.
Underneath the
marker.
arm and out to space.
Ratcliffe with to Kingery. Kingery drops it.
Ooh, great adjustment in the
Great adjustment.
mid-flight, but couldn't hang on. And
Zone
USA
set.
stretching it and setting a zone.
Odette, Nichols. Lots of room for that throw. Schlegel to Nichols. D, Cook. Great zone breaking opportunity, but a nice piece of defensive work by Cook. The end of the zone break, Cook in pursuit, gets way up and just says, not here.
You almost expect the Dikembe Mutombo finger after that one. That was a big swat.
Yeah. Probably should have caught it.
Probably should have caught it.
Ratliff around. Great throw down the sideline. Canner. Ratcliffe. Cook. Classic zone offense from the Americans. Kingery. A nice weak side throw again, but this time not enough hook on it. Canner was open, but Balding's right there in the middle of the field. Nichols goes through.
Nice
Great throw by
break.
Jen Nichols. Rodriguez in space. 5-2. Nettlefold really doing a great job handling that point. Finishes to a wide open Rodriguez. All that offense, though, is set up by the great zone break we see right there by Jen Nichols. Once the disc is through that four-person cup, you've got a numerical advantage everywhere on the field. I mean, that's the disadvantage of the four-person cup is
Once you're through.
you can't let it throw in between. You
Oof.
cannot let them throw it between the middles. If they successfully throw a pass through between the middles, you're toast.
And I think even in a one-on-one situation, running away with a good throw to space, Rodriguez has a ton of closing speed.
So much
I mean,
pace.
That was going to be a tough one to catch for anyone but her.
The wind has really settled here in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Canada pulling up, down 5-2 to the Americans. The Americans are really slow getting off the line.
You mean getting into their offense?
No, I mean, Coach Donnelly is still on the field well after the time whistle is blown. And Zayas with the huck. Dion in pursuit. Jump ball. Foul, Nye. Over Dion and Fontenette. Goal. 6-2. Foul, Nye. Great catch.
And Dion is not pleased with herself. I think she, as a much taller defender there, felt like she had a line on that one and just didn't get enough of it.
Here's Fontenette, great backhand. 6-2. You know, Val Dion there makes a classic Tolly mistake of thinking that you're going to be able to just reach and get it.
Instead of getting in there
Instead
and
of getting there
getting
and
a
getting
body.
a body. If she gets a body on,
yeah,
that's hers, no question.
I mean, just
But
a much bigger human.
Yeah. But because she gives Nye an opportunity to jump and doesn't challenge Nye's position,
And Nye really
made a great catch.
Well, made a great catch, but had a great read. You know, had the angle to read it instead of the disc floating out over her head the way it was Valdion's.
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with you that in that situation, you know the offensive player is going to get a better read just by virtue of the angle of the disc.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the
why
first thing
the
you
thrower
can
threw
do,
it there to give the angle.
right? And the first thing you can do is go take that advantage away.
Center with the pull. Same four-person cup for the Americans. Drop. Fisher, or Nettlefold missing Balding. Cook with the disc. Block. Great poach block by Team Canada. And the Americans immediately in the zone, no question. Everybody finds their spot. Nichols. Backhand through again to Schlegel. Balding. Nettlefold. Hammer to Balding. Why not get yards there? Like if you're gonna ask for the hammer, Schlegel. Balding. Nettlefold. Balding inside the cup. Great forehand to
Knifes it
Schlegel.
through.
Nothing there afterwards, though. Cup's going to set again on Schlegel. Very soft mark from the Americans. Blade from Schlegel. What a throw. I think Kingery is calling stall. Very soft mark. You can't even see Kingery in the picture because she's off right at the limits of what would be a legal mark. Schlegel, jump ball, D. Calling a foul. Oh no. Stall.
And USA is going to get better field position here. Canada not disagreeing.
Canada did a really nice job going over the cup, through the cup that time, but
Not taking advantage of the numerics there.
unlike some other possessions where they've really been able to get off to the races, they weren't able to there. Cook, wide open, in man-to-man, too far. Holds with the turnover, and the zone sets immediately.
There are points here where this almost looks like a 5-person cup
Yeah, when
because
Weeks
of the way
sneaks in
Weeks is sneaking in
to play in next to Canner.
right there.
Yep, and you see she just steps right in. She's really doing a nice job of changing her position. Schlegel, center, Schlegel.
Nice grab.
I love that throw, Schlegel. She takes what's there instead of reaching for the goal, and it sets
and then
up
a
an
pass
easy
later
finish.
they get it. What a rip by Tasia Balding.
Yeah. Boom.
I
Nice
mean-
catch by Schlegel. And this throw by Schlegel is a great example of throwing a good throw that you know is going to be completed. Instead of trying to throw the great throw for the goal, there might be a turnover. 6-3 USA, Canada.
And USA taking a slow walk back to the line here. Coach Donnelly,
Sandy Park.
I think, struggling a little bit in these conditions just to communicate to her team. You see her kind of turning in confusion like, I haven't got enough on the line there.
Yeah. But again, the time whistle blows, and Park and Donnelly still on the field. There's the whistle now.
And Valdion taking her sweet time as well on the pole.
On the pole. Dion.
And what a pole.
McDonald. Ratcliffe. 2-3-2 from the Canadians. I love it. 80s defense. It's great.
And it's
Ratcliffe,
confusing
nice
USA. I think they're not
And Ratcliffe
sure.
throws a jump ball. Dion. Miranda Roth. Fontenette. With her backhand to Val Nye. 7-3.
You
Miranda
know,
Roth.
Miranda
So
Roth.
Strong.
And in conditions like this, I think USA, it's clear to me now, and maybe you'll agree, they're content to play a little bit more ugly but smarter and go for field position. And in that game, when you have a weapon who can read and get up the way Miranda Roth does,
And
put
hold off a defender
and
like
put a big
Valdian.
body on Valdian, who is an equally big person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such an asset in these kinds of conditions. Not only that, but to have the wherewithal not to turn and throw her own big backhand, but change the angles, hits Fontenette,
Take Fontenette wide open.
And a goal to Nye.
USA up 7-3 behind great four-person cup defense throughout the game. Early on in this game, getting a lot of short field opportunities. Now, both teams playing a much more open style. And man from the Americans. Fontenette.
Nice run through D.
Zayas right to Fontenette. If it stays in, it's a goal. Foul called. Gernon called for the foul. Doesn't agree. It's going to be contested, but it will come back.
And Shannon Elliott actually turning and showing great speed away
To get the block.
to go get the block, despite the fact that it will be a foul contest situation, and USA will retain possession.
So Zayas in the middle of the field. She still has Fontenette if she wants.
And she does.
Back corner, Fontenette. Great block. And oh, did she keep her feet down? She did.
What focus.
Absolutely sensational play from both players. A huge block, and Fontenette poised, stays with the disc. Incredible play by the superstar, Dominique Fontenette. Still got it.
And faith by Viv Zayas, too. That's a great throw, but that's putting a lot of faith in Dom Fontenette to come up with that one on maybe a bigger defender.
Here's the throw. The block. Toes the line. Incredible. 8-3 USA. Canada calls a timeout. Talk things over. Maybe make some adjustments. We'll be back after word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Next Gen Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 WIF-DIF World Ultimate and Guts Championships. Late in the first half here, Women's Masters Final, Team USA up 8-3 on Team Canada, entirely behind their defense.
Yeah, Lou, they have really, in these trying conditions, the wind now has died down a little bit, but certainly the wet disc, a huge issue for throwers out there. USA has made the strategy adjustments that I think we talked about at the beginning of the game that are putting them just in great position to score. Now, that said, that's not 100% of the time. They're also coming up with some big plays and throwing some big-time throws. We've seen a couple from Miranda Roth. We've seen certainly a plethora of great shots and catches from Dominique Fontenette. If Canada can't turn the tables and start making their own big plays, this is going to turn into a runaway victory for the USA.
What Canada needs, right, and a drop. Cook with the disc. Rodriguez on the mark. Kingery. Looks off center. Kingery to Cook. Cook.
Nice snag.
Weeks running the field. Weeks. Halftime. USA 9, Canada 3. Captain Dion exhorts the troops. Here's the shot to Fontenette from the point before. Halftime. Team USA 9, Canada 3. Folks, we're going to take a break for half. When we come back, our analysis on what Team Canada is going to need to do to get back in this game.
How Team USA can finish.
From everybody here next Gen Ultimate, I'm Lou.
And I'm Chase.
Back with you in 5 minutes. Welcome back to Next Gen's Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 WIFDIF World Ultimate and Guts Championships. It is a rainy, wet afternoon here. Women's Masters Final. Team USA with a commanding 9-3 lead, completely on the back of a tough four-person cup that's forcing Team Canada into mistakes.
And Lou, we've seen even when Team Canada turns it over for Team USA, in the long field, USA, in my opinion, making the smart play, throwing away to their big receivers. And when turnovers happen on the vertical instead of on the horizontal part of the field, they're able to take their time to set that cup up again, and that's what's generated a lot of great short field opportunities for them.
What I would like to see Team Canada do here in the second half, they've done a nice job. In particular, Jen Nichols with that powerful backhand going through the middle of the cup, Tasia Balding going over the top. They've been able to move out past that first layer of defense, that four-person cup. But
they're not making good on it.
Yes. The adjustment that Canada should make here is to say, look, we're going to get it done with with two handlers. The other five of you, just be patient. We'll get it to you, and when we do, y'all got to chew yards.
I even think Team Canada can get it done with the three-handler set that they've shown us so far. There's still a numeric advantage there.
Sure, it's still 4-on-3.
It's still 4-on-3. There's an extra person floating around somewhere. I think the issue is
she just got to get up and run?
She's just got to get up and run and find that soft spot behind the cup. You know, we've seen the Team USA wings playing super close in. They're sucking in.
Yeah, Sarah Weeks doing a nice job in that
and
spot.
that has prevented that pass. I would almost say drop that second person in the middle of the field.
Something strange is going on here. Officials are out on the field. We have a 10-minute lightning delay, folks. There's been lightning seen. We're going to have a 10-minute lightning delay. So Kath Ratcliffe just sets the disc down, and the players are jogging off the field. We will check back in with you folks in exactly 9 minutes and let you know the status of this game. Again, just 2 passes into the second half, USA up 9-3. Next Gen Ultimate, we'll be back 9 minutes. Welcome back to Next Gen Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 World Ultimate Guts Championships. We've been on rain delay. We had a brief lightning warning, but we're back in. It's USA 9, Canada 3. Chase, we were talking before the lightning timeout about the kind of adjustments we'd like to see out of Team Canada's zone offense. The weather has gotten a little nicer.
It really has. The wind has died down. The rain is more or less gone. Still a very wet field.
Yes, but it's not pouring, so the disc will stay dry.
As long as it stays up.
Yes.
And I think so far in this game, as you were saying before the rain delay, or lightning delay rather, Canada has done really well to get those quick strikes, especially with Jen Nichols' backhand, through the cup.
Yeah.
They just aren't making the right kind of adjustments to take advantage of the sort of numerics of what they have going on downfield. And I think, in my opinion, that is, especially with the two USA wings who are pinching in a little bit tight to cover the middle of the field because there's no short deep.
Sure.
If they can drop one of those poppers that's kind of occupying that space, actually just back behind the cup, back behind the wings, into the space made available by the deep pulling or deep pulling whoever is playing deep for the USA back.
Pulling her back, yeah.
I think that is the soft spot in this zone. If you can get it through or around that big cup and then hit the soft spot right behind it,
Yeah. Well, that's
you're off to the races.
Sure. The key there is that you got the 2 handlers back, 3 handlers back. You also have whoever is catching that disc going straight up the field. That's 4 players. You have 3 other players. They have to find a way. I think the soft spot is actually right in front of the deep. One of those 3 players for Canada can go deep.
Draw the deep.
Draw the deep out. And as the deep is drawn out, it creates this ocean of space underneath the deep.
And again, that's just taking advantage of
The numbers.
But
But part of that is
you make the deep man up
right
by taking somebody deep.
But what has to happen is that the wings from Team Canada, when they see that disc go through, they've got about a 1-step advantage against the Team USA defensive wings. They've got to run hard to get into that soft spot.
Yeah.
They're not running hard right now. They're looking at that throw go through and then jogging upfield, and that's giving the defense of the United States a chance to recover. For jailbreak to work, it's got to really be a jailbreak, and nobody breaks out of jail jogging.
No, and I think right now Team Canada's offense really isn't looking for that soft spot or trying to take advantage of the numerics downfield. And you see that, I think there was an earlier play where you said, what's Bolden doing not getting more yards on that hammer over the top?
Yeah.
You know, she is an incredible weapon with her throws, in particular that flick. We've
forehand
seen
is
a
awesome.
couple of
Yeah.
blades. She did also rip a huge backhand, like just through the cup going away.
That was a forehand, actually.
Was that a forehand?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I think that's what Canada is content to do, even in these poor conditions, is say, we're going to play this as though it's not a 4-man cup. We're going to play it just like it's a 3-man cup and not worry about what's happening downfield. We're going to chew up yards with our great throws. Now, I agree with you. I think that's a mistake and is an adjustment that I think certainly USA with Coach Donnelly would have made by now.
They're going to completely go back to halftime and pull. So the 2 passes the Team USA had completed are going to come off the board. Same lineup for USA. Ratcliffe with the disc. 2-3-2 has devolved into man for the Canadian defense. Cook in trouble. Ratcliffe comes back and get it. Bit of collision. Nichols on the mark. Kingery reaches for Fontenette. Well defended. No second effort this time.
I think
Hershey
USA was caught by surprise there by person defense.
Yes.
Their cutters were so far away. The handlers did a great job of chewing up some time and some yards there.
Nichols. Lemieux. Great physical battle. Wins over Kingery. Canada on the board. Lemieux. Way to battle. Way to battle. Here's the huck from Nichols.
That was a big
Kingery
rip.
all over. Great catch.
And wisely swings it out wide here to the wide open 1-2 to the end zone.
Yeah. Great poise after the big catch to take the easy open swing, which sets up the
You
easy
know,
goal. Yeah, here's that
one-
catch again. The battle.
This lightning delay may have been exactly what Canada needed
Right.
to stop the momentum in the USA. We are seeing slightly different conditions from before the delay. The wind again dying down,
And
the rain
The rain
gone.
has really stopped.
And in many, I mean, that really minimizes the game plan that USA brought in the first half of this game.
Of playing that
playing the nasty zone.
And getting the
And-
short field
yeah, and getting
opportunities.
an 8th man on the field basically with the bad weather. Canada really content to just go out and gun. They could easily crawl back into this game, especially now they're on defense and they're showing a couple of different looks to the United States. Zone points, man points.
We'll see what they play here. Dion with the pull. Zayas. To Lee. Rodriguez. Lee slips. Dion picks it up. Roth to mark. Zone from the Americans. Zayas with a chance for a bid. Nichols catches it in front of her. Dion. Dion with the blade to Schlegel. Cook. Fontenette says, take it. I thought Dominique
I thought
had
Dom
that.
had that, absolutely. Wow.
Hard to tell on that replay.
I think maybe Dom in that case realizing there's nobody here to observe, there's nobody here to tell her that's right, that's wrong.
And here's the catch again. Schlegel's got great position. Everybody goes up. Wow. Really tough.
And Ty goes to the offense in
Yeah.
that case. I think that actually played out probably about how it should have. And Dominique, so cool.
Yeah.
What, a fiery competitor in her own right, absolutely. But the handshake after the play, not a lot of argument. She knows there's bigger fish to fry in this game.
Great start here in the second half for Canada. They get a break right away. They're now up, or they're now having picked up 2 breaks. They've brought it back to 9-5. Dion again to pull.
That's a great pull.
Weeks. Zayas. High backhand again to center. Dion, huge block on Roth. Picks it up in transition. Hershey.
9-6. And the momentum
Paradis on
here,
the goal.
the momentum has completely shifted here in this game.
And it's playing man-to-man. And the conditions let Canada get out and run. What a block by Dion. And in transition, so quick. Paradis for the goal.
USAD just never gets settled.
No timeout call from the U.S. here.
USA
Go ahead.
USA needs a mentality switch here. I think Donnelly is seeing that just as well as we're seeing that.
But she doesn't call timeout.
I think there's enough veterans here and veterans that she's coached or played with in her career
Or against.
that she can say what needs to be said. You spoke to her taking a little bit longer on the line. It seems to be not an issue between these two teams. I think she's able to just communicate exactly what needs to be happening quickly using the vocabulary that she's developed with the players that she's coached and played with and played against.
Like a mini timeout.
Like a mini timeout between every point. And we'll see here. I think USA really, really needs to go away from the long ball.
And back to possession.
And back to possession, maybe even getting a little bit more horizontal now that these conditions have really gotten better.
Weeks. Cook. Tough D from the Canadians. Low. Cook. Great field control by Cook. Jump ball high in the count, though. Foul called on Fisher.
That's a bailout.
It is a bailout.
That's a total bailout.
Sarah Cook got a break here.
Oof.
I mean, had she thrown what she wanted to throw, she might have been able to reach Fontenette. But it was going to be a jump ball.
And that's a foul late in the count.
Low. Cook up the line. Chance for Fontenette. Doesn't take it. Sliegel comes in on Nye.
That's a
Val
heads-up
Nye
play.
with the strip call. Great block by Sliegel. We'll see if it stands.
Sliegel was over here on the far side guarding Canner, who made a move away.
And Nye was open for days, but just stood to wait for the disc. Players in discussion about the strip call.
And the throw goes back.
Goes back to Cook. Second break for Cook and the Americans this point. So USA at midfield. Cook flanked by Lowe. All the American handlers. Weeks, Zayas, push downfield. Reaches for Lowe. Blocked. Sliegel. Great D.
Great D.
Here's the block on the jump ball.
And again, I think that's a high count throw to the end zone.
She had Zayas open for the swing.
She did have Zayas open for the swing. I
Never
think just
really looked there.
not in the time that she kind of wanted it. But on the deep turnover, USA able
Nichols
to come back and
through
set
the cup.
their zone.
Here's their chance. And again, slow to move up the field and take advantage of that backhand through the cup by Nichols. Zone sets for the Americans. Cook sneaking in as the wing. Now dropping back out. Nichols. Odette. Tough spot. Odette. No pressure on the resets.
No,
Even when they get in high, even when the Americans push the Canadians into high counts, they're content to let the Canadians reset and maintain possession. Too short trying to find Nichols. The containment strategy works for the Americans. Zayas finds Cook. Cook again. Only eyes for the end zone. Cook.
You know, we've seen that twice now, or I think that mentality in two different ways. You've highlighted it for the USA Cup. One, oftentimes their mark is so far away.
So soft.
So soft. Really, you know, almost like you said, on the verge of not within the rules as far as distance from the mark.
Yep. But it gets
And
turnovers.
But it gets turnovers. Two, totally comfortable letting that soft around the cup kind of movement happen for a reset. They're comfortable with that, and it's almost like they're baiting Canada into taking the kind of shots that are generating the turnovers.
Sarah Cook with the disc. You know, Cook, I wonder if the way she's seeing the field right now, she's still holding the wind in her head, that she's still thinking, I've got to take a shot because we can't play possession. Because we see her here look off Weeks and not play the possession and take a big shot. It works down the field. Back to Weeks. Zayas. Blocked. Schlegel. Zayas calls foul. Wendy Schlegel bringing it on D. Weeks. Wet disc turnover.
Wet disc turnover.
Cup sets. Nice transition D by Zayas. Recognized that Fontenette's out of position.
And she
Zayas
gets the D.
sneaks in, gets the D. In transition, Fontenette.
That is a big time
Nice.
throw from Von Fontenette.
Cook. Zayas.
USA here, the offense boosting the pace a little bit.
Just a bit.
And I think that's really paying dividends. They've had several kind of open looks from what have been their sort of stagnant cutters.
That was not who Vivian Zayas was aiming for. She only had eyes for Fontenette. Misses. Low, though.
Able to reel it in. Lowe has incredible hands
Yeah, she's made some great catches today.
in tough, tough conditions.
See, Fontenette breaks. Zayas sees her. Overshoots. Unlucky break for the Canadian defense. Their downfield defense on the American Cutters has been really, really sensational.
Really
This half.
sensational. And USA's offensive cutters have looked pretty stagnant. In that particular instance, though, I think the fact that there was a turnover allowed them to pick up and almost run fast. I mean, they were almost running fast break
Yeah.
offense, and it actually made their offense cleaner because the cutters were involved, everybody was moving, and the offense just kind of coalesced around that movement.
Fontenette's throw setting everything up. though.
Fontenette's throw. And again, one of those throws that I think that hole was open because she went quickly.
Yeah, but you know what else she did that I liked? She threw her backhand.
Yeah. Instead of lining up a forehand
Instead of even
with a wet disc.
Instead of even trying to throw a forehand with a wet disc, she just looked and said, "Hey, I've got my backhand. What can I get out of it?" She got 25 yards. Balding, the Americans in man. Active mark by Kingery. Great throw to Dion. That's traffic ultimate. Big throws in big spaces. Balding. Elliott finds Nettlefold. Nettlefold. Elliott. The American D clamps down. Balding. The big thrower. Pick called. Center covering Dion, I think just cleaned out Sarah Cook.
Team Canada's offense really handling this man pressure quite well,
But it's pressure.
but it's pressure.
Balding with the disc. Lots of space for the forehand or the backhand around. Elliott. Balding. Pick called. Back to Elliott. Both teams playing fantastic defense on the cutters. Both teams are able to get resets, but not able to generate separation downfield to move the disc. This point's going to hinge on which team can get a big break throw and get into the soft part of the D.
Certainly each team
Foul.
has the personnel
to get that break off.
to get that break off.
That forehand inside out in wet conditions.
Well, the rhythm for both of these teams is just a little off because the early part of this game was so zone oriented
and windy.
and windy.
Balding.
It's almost like the first person to discover that.
Sinner on Dion. Incredible matchup in the lane. Great bid. Canadians still battling in. Balding. Still trapped on the forehand side. High count. Hammer. Goal.
Wow, that's a big throw. That's
Yeah.
a big. That is
On stalling 9.5.
possibly.
I think that was there the whole time.
That someone should have just lined it up and
well,
thrown
just
it.
look, that two-step separation that the Americans are giving is why they're being so successful defending the open side, but it means that the break side is wide open.
But that was just a nasty throw as well.
Well, yeah, of
I mean,
course.
and knowing that she has it now,
Right.
I think USA might adjust. There's just not a lot of people
They can throw
in
that.
any game that can throw that throw to keep that hammer low and basically, to space, but more accurately to say to the back shoulder of her receiver. It's over the top of the stack, but it's not high. It doesn't get caught in the wind. That's a big throw.
So do you think it'd be fair for me to say that the super sweet hammer is always open?
I think that would be a fair statement. Yes, Luke.
Okay. On that note, let's take a break. Welcome back to Next Gen Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 WIFDIF World Ultimate and Guts Championships, live from Osaka, Japan. Second half action in the Women's Masters Division Final. Team USA up 10-7. Canada on a big run.
And USA calls that timeout to make some of the adjustments that I think you and I were talking about before. Donnelly has to be seeing that her team is really still in that zone set mentality, not challenging to be able to throw the horizontal pass, the extra pass, and there's a major disconnect now that Canada has come down with man defense between the handlers and the cutters.
Could give credit, though, to both teams. Their defense on the cutters has been great.
Great.
Selling out a little bit, really to bury in on the open side. But under less than ideal conditions, being able to one throw to the break side is going to be tough. Team USA maybe goes to their strength of a lot of handlers with really good ball control. Pick up the tempo, pick up the motion.
Absolutely pick up the tempo. And I think buckle down on that defense. They had a great stand here, really only broken by just a nasty hammer from Tasia Balding.
Out of bounds pull. Kath Ratcliffe to center it. Flanked by Weeks and Cook. Roth low. Center. Fontenette for the Americans. Very strong line for the Americans. Center. Ladder to Ratcliffe. Cook gets up the field and runs. She's got a shot to Roth. Roth
Wow.
just robs the Canadian defender. And around to Ratcliffe. Miranda Roth.
Beverly Porter made a great read on there on defense.
Too much size and strength.
Just too much size and strength. And once Miranda turned the corner, coming back to the disc,
to attack it.
she attacked the disc almost, like nobody else does. You see
Right
her
here.
line this throw
Boom.
up, but
Yeah.
the explosion off of that first step to backpedal and go get the disc.
And then using the length, finds Ratcliffe. Catches Potter kind of napping on the inside out a little bit.
Sometimes it takes big plays by your big players to keep that point alive. But I do like the way the offense is working now for Team USA.
Open space. What I saw that I liked the best? Sarah Cook running the field.
Definitely.
Getting your resets, getting that handler motion in action, but getting it in a
in an
positive.
attacking way.
Team USA to pull. Looking at this lineup from Team USA, likely a zone set. Obi pull. This is going to be man, though, from the Americans. Kingery on Balding. Great matchup here. Kate Kingery, really active, aggressive marker. Elliott. Defense tightens. Nichols. Elliott. Pick called in the lane. Balding, the nearest handler. Clears out. Great throw from Elliott across the field. Nettlefold trapped. Elliott. Pick again. Nettlefold on the sideline.
I'd really love to see Kate Kingery here in the middle of the field, guarding Tasia Balding, push her away from the disc.
Huge, brutal backpack by Lisa Canner. Balding misses, but Dion comes up with a huge grab to keep the disc alive.
And there's a call downfield.
There's a pick call. I think that pick call saved Val Dion from a turnover. We see too far for Balding. Dion comes up with a big grab. She comes up looking to throw something awesome. Goes around to Balding. What a throw. Holy mackerel.
That was an incredible touch, kind of around break.
Backhand.
And Kingery, I think, in a lot of ways, a more explosive defender than Balding going away from the disc, but able to hold her off with the big body.
And
that thing's
what?
just on
if
a
you're
dime.
a defender, I mean, that's what, as a defender, that's what you're giving up.
Right. You're saying, great, if you can beat me with that. You know, the tough part is after that point, Kate Kingery a little bit disappointed, I think.
Yeah.
But you just have to be able to say, if you're going to beat me with that,
I'll do that.
You have to
good
have-
on you.
You have to have defender's memory.
Oh, baby.
That's right. Short memory.
Dion getting her matchups. She's not going to be in this point, but she's getting people where she wants them.
One of the incredible things about this traffic team that I think would present potentially a difficult dynamic is there are lots of different years of traffic players here
And a lot of non-traffic players.
and prime players and other players in Canada certainly who are the leaders, either have been the leaders of the Vancouver women's ultimate teams.
you mean just
or
like just fitting that many leaders
Just
together?
fitting that. I mean, we've seen this. Tasia Balding, a bit of a leader on this team. Certainly Val Dion now just out on the
Yeah.
line calling her defense.
Cook. Great catch by Lowe. Ratcliffe. Weeks. Lowe just chewing the field. Center. Late bid by Nichols. Ratcliffe open. She's got Roth. Unbelievably doesn't throw it and then goes to the turn the page. No trouble for Roth. Strip call. That goal is going to stand.
Goal USA. I was just about to say, Kath Radcliffe has held on to a lot of forehands that I've seen her throw before. Because she has
Why
that
not
big,
the backhand?
she
Why
has
not the
that
backhand?
big booming forehand,
You think
and
she
I think
just
she
wants-
favors it. And right there, you see her throw
You
to a
see
big
why.
time receiver. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean that's a great throw.
Jen Nichols has bid in the middle of the field. I think that clearly a mistake there. I love the effort that Nichols is going to bring. Catch by Dion. The defensive intensity that Nichols is going to bring on D, but she's not going to get that block. And once she gives that
Great
up,
bid right there.
but once she bids, she's not in a position to have that mark on. That gives center the chance to get Ratliff running up the field. And then you've got Ratliff unmarked with Roth in space.
She opts not to throw the backhand, instead uses that big backhand fake,
But
but
not-
same difference.
Yeah. And if Nichols stays on her feet, acknowledges
stops
that
that.
she's not going to get
Right.
there, and
Stops
just
the
gets
next
the mark
pass.
on. Yeah. Okay. Zayas with the pull. Right to Balding. Porter to Schlegel. Dion. Quick motion from the Canadians. Elliott. Right. Elliott defended by Lee. Dion. Elliott. Kirk Koster. Balding. Balding with a big forehand to Schlegel. Great play by Schlegel. Holds her space. Breaks at the last minute. 12-9, USA over Canada. Great tempo, great rhythm to the Canadian offense. We're going to see the finishing throw from Balding. Schlegel holds the position, finishes strongly. But the rhythm there, the offense, it just, for one of the first times this game, we see the Canadian offense find a rhythm where the handlers and cutters are on the same page, so that when the handlers are catching it, they're looking, the cutters are giving them something. It's not always open, of course, because it's not always going to be open, but the cuts are in the right place at the right time, and so that the offense is able to move laterally. Here's the cut inside and out. We're going to move back across the field, and as it does, cuts inside and out. Go ahead.
Something I saw that I really liked that point, Val Dion playing great offense.
But the Americans on offense now. Ratcliffe, dump to Weeks. Cook. Weeks. Hucks to low, short. Nichols. Rodriguez. Tough mark from center. Rodriguez calls the foul. Ratcliffe on the D.
Great tight D by USA. But Canada really able to break it.
Reaching for Rodriguez. Can the speedster get there? Too far. If that throw is 10 steps to the right, where there's more field, Rodriguez gets there.
I agree. She could have, had there been more field,
Got to that.
gotten to that, possibly on a layout, but I think her closing speed gets there.
Ratcliffe walking slowly off the turnover at the back of the end zone. Canada in man-to-man. Roth and Fontenette isolated in space. Fontenette under. Everybody out. Weather turnover, Fontenette attempting to throw the forehand huck. I think she's calling a foul on Nichols. Comes back to Fontenette. Weeks. Center. Cook. Cook's holding it again. Now the reset to Weeks.
That's a dicey reset.
Center. Roth going out. Well defended. Cook too far, but Roth picks up the scraps. Ratcliffe coming across the field. She's got low if she'll run. Ratcliffe
USA with
calls
a
timeout. I think a missed opportunity there for Lowe with Ratcliffe's forehand on the sideline. Here's the catch by Roth. And then Ratcliffe on the sideline. She had a chance. She had Lowe in the open field, but Lowe chose not to cut. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Next Gen Ultimate's coverage of the 2012 WIF Diff World Ultimate and Guts Championships. Team USA with the disc up 12-9. Ratcliffe dumps to Cook. Inside out, Roth. I think that was to Fontenette. Roth, second cleanup for this point. Back to Weeks. Back to Roth. Big backhand. Can anybody get there?
That's a tough throw
I think that's a case of trying to solve the offense's problems.
with one throw.
Yes. Not much motion from the Team USA cutters. Perhaps a little bit of fatigue setting in.
You know, what they've done really well, though, is getting their handlers out on the run. And I think in that situation, if Miranda turns and adjusts and
Get Sarah Weeks out running.
gets Sarah Weeks out running, they're in an attacking position instead of at a standstill trying to win it with one throw.
Nichols. Got Sliegel. Holds it in the wet conditions. Dropped. Ratcliffe wants the fast break. She's got Fontenette open. Can she get there? Oh, and it comes free. Is she going to be okay? That was a rough
I think
landing.
she's just upset with herself. That was
Incredible
a huge
trailing edge bid.
trailing edge grab.
And she can't get it back up. And it comes free when it hits the ground.
Wow, Dom.
Sarah Lowe. Roth on the mark. Weeks with a chance for a block. And it's Lowe trying to reach Gilbride. Cook to pick it up. Cook takes a shot at Lowe and Roth. Too far. Great pursuit by Audette. Audette to Nichols. Nichols gets away with one. Nettlefold. Nichols. Pick. This goes back.
And the pick will send the disc back
Back to Nettlefold.
in the middle of the field.
Nichols probably coming right back to Nichols. She's got about 6 steps of separation on Fontenette.
I think Dom's still feeling it on that last layout. That was a big crunch
I'm
after
still
making
feeling
that
it.
grab.
Nichols. Audette. Rodriguez under pressure. Dropped.
Foul called.
Calls foul on center. Crowd doesn't like it, but center has no objections. Rodriguez with the disc. In trouble. Finds Nettlefold on the outlet. Stall called. Sinner and Rodriguez both telling their teams what they want. Jump ball right away. Roth coming.
Ouch. I think that was
A foul called.
No foul call. I think Rodriguez didn't wait for the tag,
So it was coming back no matter what.
so it was coming back no matter what.
Drop to midfield. Weeks in transition. Cook looks off center. Weeks drops it. Nettlefold quickly in transition offense. And Cook
Collision in the middle of the field.
drops the hammer. Allison Fisher getting the worst of that one.
She absolutely got the worst of that.
Coming back in. Low in the stall count. Nettlefold with the disc. Marked by Ratcliffe. Cannon on the doorstep. Fisher. Lefty backhand. The receiver wasn't ready.
She wasn't, and that backhand, instead of going to a cutting receiver, just thrown to space.
It was a great vision.
Great look, great vision play. If your receiver's not ready for that one,
It's going to be a turnover.
it's got to be a turnover.
Ratcliffe. Low. Center. No. And Rodriguez is wide open. Center's not there. Nettlefold. Audette. Back to Nettlefold. Stagnant offense from the Canadian Cutters. Reach to Rodriguez. Everybody gets to play.
And Rodriguez
Rodriguez!
somehow comes out with it.
It's just
That was a pile of bodies.
the disc just
And-
disappears, and Rodriguez comes out with it. Here's the replay.
How does she
The
toe
crowd
the
gathers.
line?
She takes a hit.
Hit from center.
Wow. Hangs on. Great grab. 12-9.
Team Canada's knocking on the door here.
12-10. No, we're at 12-9. Something that is a huge factor for Team Canada in their favor if they can put a run together. The Americans have no timeouts.
Can't slow down the game.
Can't stop and make adjustments.
That is big.
They're going to have to find a way to use these like mini timeouts that we're talking about. Coach Donnelly talking to Team America. Park talking to Team America, getting them to make the kind of adjustments she wants. But you can hear that whistle blowing, and she's still on the field.
And if I'm Team Canada, I'm thinking someone should go talk to her about that. Because Canada does not want the time to run out on that potential comeback.
And they don't want to give her a chance to control
make those kinds
the
of adjustments.
pace and tempo of the game and make adjustments either. Zayas. can't find Kingery. Lee. Nice start. McDonald. America outrunning the field. Kingery, everything right up the strong side. Finally a dump, Zayas. Goal USA. Is there a pick call? Nope.
No, I think just Lee tripped.
Yeah. 13-10. Really amazing scoreboard this game. We're going to see Zayas collect a dump. She really wants to throw the goal here on the inside out. Kata going up the line into a crowd.
And though no pick called, I think Lee getting tangled up there actually helps the USA offense.
Yeah, because otherwise, who knows how many people are in there.
Right.
By the halves, a really different game. 9-3 in the first half for the U.S., 7-4 in the second half for the Canadians. They're close to breaking this game if they can bank one here and get their D back on the field.
On the other half of that, I think USA regaining some momentum by having a clean sheet on that last point on offense, an opportunity to do what they do best here, play hard-nosed D.
Man D from the Americans. Balding, Dion, Rodriguez streaking deep. Back to Balding. Balding. Right. Up the line.
Lovely leading pass.
Great catch. Kerr Koster with the disc. And I think shaken, she's going to call a timeout. Great pass from Wright. Great catch. Timeout, Team Canada. Down 10-13.
There's some confusion here. I think she's taking an injury.
Not a timeout.
Not a timeout.
The teams thought she was taking a timeout.
But the teams thought she was taking a timeout.
Okay, so Lemieux comes in with the disc. Can you tell me why Jennifer Donnelly's on the field right now?
This is a cagey move on her part. Maybe selecting who she's going to bring in, bleeding some time off the clock.
Captain Dion for the Canadians arguing that it should be stalling 0, that the injury happened on the catch, and that any stall that was incurred
after
Kerr Koster stood up, that should come off because the injury happened right as the disc was caught.
Here's that throw again. A really nice touch forehand, just leading too far into space. Great grab.
Great day to lay out today. You know, the Canadians need to give up the 3 seconds and get playing. They do not have the time to get into arguments.
They're going to run into the cap here.
Lemieux with the disc, marked by Zayas. Center, or Kingery and Balding, still talking.
And USA so happy to oblige them in that.
Okay, we're coming in on stalling 5. And it's in. Balding, double move. On the doorstep. Rodriguez looks her off. Wants right. High count, blade into traffic. Dion!
Valerie Dion.
That's just two big players finding each other when things break down.
Well, and that play is your superstars taking over, but that could have happened 2 minutes earlier if they don't discuss. They did not need that extra 3 seconds.
No.
And if they don't get into a discussion about it, they're not butting up against the cap. They're able to get their defense on here and
Look at that
maybe even
blade.
give them a couple of tries. Great tracking by Val Dion to pick that one up in front of the pack.
And I love that throw. I don't think that wins any sort of awards for being pretty.
But it gets the job done.
Well, and she puts that disc where she knows Val Dion's going to get it and where she knows no one else is going to be able to touch it. Okay. Folks, it is game to 15. Game to 15.
The crowd here building as the wind and rain
As the weather's gotten better, the crowd
disappear.
has built. A lot of fans for both sides. Dion with the pull. Canadians coming down hard. Lots of energy. Weeks. Ratcliffe. Low. Ankle breaker. Center. Ladder to Cook. Ratcliffe. Low. Center. Goes crossfield to Roth, defended by Dion. Roth.
Big grab. Goal USA.
Yeah. And that throw is there for a long time. And again, Center looking off the easy forehand to come around and throw the backhand.
I think that is a wonderful choice.
To look off the
To
forehand.
look off the forehand and to help Miranda out with a big fake here.
Yeah, it's Schlegel on the ground, not able to get the mark on.
And Dion doesn't give her a lot of space on the open side, but leaves that back end open for Miranda to get the backhand, especially with the marker on the ground.
Great help D on the weak side.
Just not enough.
Just a step short of being able to really contest. It is 14-13. Team USA up on Team Canada. Game point USA. Title on the line. 14-11. 14-11.
Game point for USA here. And again, they bring in a speedy
A fast line.
but short line. Really, I think, trying to contend with what has become the Canadian offense's penchant to move quickly in big lane cutters down the field.
Elliott, Balding. Hucks immediately to Lemieux. Lemieux, 9 pursuit. I think we're going to see a foul call here, folks. As Lemieux went up, Nye was all over. Huge throw from Balding.
That is a great throw.
And a giant backpack. See what happens? I think
It looks like foul, no contest
foul,
here.
no contest, which we agree is the right call. Lemieux with the disc on the goal line, flanked by Paradis. She's got Dion open for the flip, and she's going to call a timeout. This is Canada's last timeout. They're out of timeouts.
Interesting choice here. Canada knowing.
I really don't like that timeout call.
I don't think I like that timeout call either. I think what Canada's looking at, though, is that it's hard cap to 15. They need this point. It would be much better, in my opinion. I think
Well, sure,
you
if
would
they
agree
don't
with
score
this.
it, they lose.
If they don't score, they lose. Maybe. They play D.
You want to know why I don't like it?
Now they don't have it for later in the game.
And she's got Dion wide open for the swing pass. why not
change the angles.
Why not give
let
it to
Dion
Dion? Just
call
give
the
it to
timeout if
Dion
she wants.
and then run a give and go, run something. You've got your best player wide open. You can give it to Dion and she's got nobody marking her.
Let her do her thing.
Let her do her thing, and then you still got that timeout in your back pocket for later.
I think USA feeling like this is do or die, let's put this one in and go from there. But there's plenty of game left.
I mean, even
guess.
if Canada scores this, they still need 3 more
Yeah.
to win.
Yeah.
Mew with the disc. Balding, right, flanking her. The Americans poaching. McDonald and Nye flanking Dion at the front of the stack. Balding. Dion.
Goal.
Simple.
14-12 now. No timeouts for either team. Still game point for Team USA.
Canada needs 3. You see Balding gets the reset, and then just a pure speed and power cut from Dion. Once she gets past McDonald, there's not much anybody's going to be able to do there.
No, she's great at sealing off her defender.
Canada needing 3 blocks, 3 goals to win. USA needing 1 goal.
And the crowd is excited here. The Aussies in particular.
For the Americans, Lowe, Ratcliffe, Cook, Weeks, Roth, Sinner, Fontenette. Great line.
And I think that's their line more or less the rest of the way.
The Canadians have brought Val Dion off the field. Maybe saying, if we're going to score, we're going to need her to play those last 2 points. She can't play 6 in a row. Let's rest her now, take a shot.
That's a tough situation.
I don't agree with that call. I think you got to have your best player on the field. Cook. Inside out to center. Great throw from Cook. Center wants the reset. Cook. Defended by Fisher. Cook just staring down the lane. Finds Lowe. Center. Fontenette.
USA's Cutter's doing a great job of just chewing yards in the middle of the field.
So much motion. Weeks. Space throw to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe had broken off her cut, though. Canada with the disc to pull within 1.
They get the turn they need.
Audette to pick up the disc. Schlegel with center in pursuit. Schlegel falls
Not
to the ground.
in the end zone yet,
No reset for Schlegel.
and Canada doesn't have the timeout.
Inside out.
Great throw.
Schlegel finds Nettlefold. 1 point game. Canada 13, USA 14. Great run by Schlegel, defended by center. She really has absolutely nothing here. The resets are late getting down. Bold forehand there from Schlegel.
And Kath Radcliffe just kind of got unlucky. She was face guarding. I think she had good positioning, and it took a laser forehand
And a
to
little
an up
shoulder
the
move
line
from Nettlefold.
and a little shoulder move
just
for
enough
the
to freeze her.
separation.
Yeah.
But that even that open side leading forehand is a tough throw.
It's such a hard throw.
And again, Canada on defense with some momentum here.
And here Canada does something I like. They bring in arguably their 2 best players, Balding and Dion. They also got Nichols in there, Schlegel.
Canada really knowing how big a point this is.
They need a D and a score to stay alive.
Another huge pull by Val Dion.
Zayas in the middle of the field. Kingery working on Dion. Dion! Oh!
Nice grab.
I thought that was a
Kate
block.
Kingery.
Kingery with a huge catch. McDonald. Trouble for the Americans. Zinkara. She's got Lee. Big backhand. Defended by Lemieux. Can Lee get there? Game over! The USA are your WIFDF World Champions. Lee, what a run.
What a
15-13.
throw.
What a throw. And that was maybe the second throw of the day for her. And look at what she chooses to deliver. That is a
straight away,
great piece of
over
work.
the top of the defender, over the top of the receiver, and then it sits out in the back of the end zone. Great run by Lee.
Catching it right on the goal line.
And Canada can't do anything but shake their heads here. They gave up several points early in the game that I think just put them in too big a deficit. We saw a much cleaner game in the second half, which I think in a lot of ways is conducive to Canada scoring the kind of points that they did in the second half. But USA really able to hold on and win this game based on the lead that they had built early.
Just the way
winning.
They handled the weather.
They handled the weather and the conditions better and made the adjustments that they needed to make when it mattered.
They were able to build a 6-goal lead, and even though they're outscored 10-6 in the second half, they are your 2012 WIFDF World Champions. Chase, players of the game.
You know, I'm going to split. First half, Dominique Fontenette had a huge game, a couple of big grabs.
I just want to producers, can we please have Dominique Fontenette's layout bid? Everybody wants to see it one more time.
That was just a nasty bid. And what I was going to say is she faded after that. I think she was hurt.
Just shaken by that
just
catch.
shaken by it.
The landing is brutal.
The landing is brutal. In the second half of the game, I got to give it to Miranda Roth coming up big for them with some saves that would have been easy turnovers, giving Canada a short field. Instead, she retains possession. USA scores on several of them. They come away with a victory.
I'm going to go with Val Dion. I think you could take, if you take Val Dion off the field in this game, it's 15-9.
Certainly they don't mount the comeback
they're
that
not
they
able
did.
to mount the comeback. She plays so well on D, and then on the offensive end, she did such a great job of keeping them alive.
Oh, and running the lane. She
Running,
was,
yeah.
when she appeared in the game in their man offense,
Yeah.
that's when Canada really started to get hot.
So we got one final in the books. We got another one coming up right away. We're going to take a really short break, but when we come back, we've got Team Australia led by, here's the Fontenette bid. Wow.
Oh, that's the catch of a lifetime if she hangs on.
For you or I, it would be the catch of a lifetime, but it isn't for her.
She's had plenty, that's
Yeah.
true.
But the Australians, led by the absolutely sensational
Tom Regacki.
against Team Canada, bringing in some incredible firepower. Mike Grant, Al Nichols, Mark Roberts,
Mauro
Ortiz.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we have got a great Masters final for you. Australia, Canada for gold.